Good evening. Welcome to the Underground Cafe and Lounge. Give yourselves a big round of applause for coming out. Let's hear it. How about it for the band of the hour, Gregory Groovy Jr. Folks, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to this much anticipated grand opening of the Underground Cafe and Lounge. My name is John Tobin. I'm the Vice President of City and Community Engagement here at Northeastern University, and I'll be your MC for the evening and sharing duties with Nia. First off, I want to acknowledge the amazing team that has been hard at work for a very long time to bring us to this moment. Our partners in American Campus Communities, our colleagues in campus planning, and of course, the incomparable Roxbury native Nia Grace of Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen, our neighbor. And now to add to her vast portfolio, of course, the Underground Cafe and Lounge, and a big round of applause for Nia's team as well. They're spectacular. I'm also very pleased to welcome several community leaders here tonight, distinguished Roxbury natives themselves, Mayor Janey, and China Tyler, who is a Northeastern alum, and Boston City Council at Large Julie Mejia. And we have several candidates for office here as well that we'll acknowledge as the program goes along. I also want to acknowledge members of the Northeastern Task Force, of our institutional master plan, and our community advisory board, several of whom were integral to this process. We're also joined by many different, several leaders, students, and staff at Northeastern University. And I also want to say, you know, as the VP of City and Community Engagement here at Northeastern, I'm truly overjoyed to be with you here in this room tonight. We have so many vibrant aspects of our local neighborhoods and communities represented. Small business entrepreneurs, civic leaders, local artists, and our community organizations and partners. And I just want to acknowledge how fortunate we are to have a wealth of talent and intelligence and passion in the city, and a common cause to bring people together to create amazing spaces like this, especially after a very long time of isolation. And that being said, I just want to give a quick reminder to safeguard everyone's health tonight. I know that many people are adhering to this. We ask that you please keep your masks on for the duration of the event unless you are actively eating or drinking. And that's hard not to do in a great place like the Underground Cafe and Lounge, not to be actively drinking or eating. We have a great program and, of course, great food, like I mentioned. You'll be hearing from several different speakers, including Catherine Saunders, the Executive Director of the Roxbury YMCA, and curators in residence, Rob Problack-Gibbs and Brenda Leong of Artists for Humanity, whose artwork adorns our walls here. We'll also have a spoken word performance from South End native Valerie Stevens, and live music, as I said, again, by the band of the hour and Gregory Groovy Jr. You know, the News at Northeastern, which is a daily publication at the university for staff, faculty, and students at the school, and we send that out to our community partners as well. They sat down with Nia recently and asked her about the origins of the underground. And I had the opportunity to do that at an event here a couple weeks ago with Nia, and it was just fascinating. I was asking how she designed the place and, you know, the artwork and really the meaning behind its name, and in talking about the meaning of the underground. And she said she wanted the space to be the intersection of culture and community. And I'll let you know more about that in a moment, but today and tonight is a good day, and it's a good night. And I'm optimistic that this gathering tonight is just the beginning of our university and local small businesses, particularly our women and minority-owned small businesses, working in partnership to bring our communities together. So, without further ado, it is my great privilege to introduce the woman of the hour, the founder of the newly minted Underground Cafe and Lounge, my friend, our friend, Nia Grace.
Hi. Good evening, right? Good evening, everyone. I assume that if you're here in the room with us today, you're here because you know someone in the room, possibly myself. You may also know some of the things that we've done in the community together, including go to the University of Miami. I have to give that up to my boy Josh, right there. As well as Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen. I just really wanted to say thank you, right? It's really super simple. 3 years ago, I started on a journey to change my career path, gone from nonprofit management, where my entire being was in fact dedicated to community development, where I just wanted to take my talents and give it back to the neighborhoods that I felt that made me who I am, from then and even today. And so that has always been my drive and my passion. And 3 years ago or 5 years ago, I was able to come back to another piece of my passion, which is in fact hosting people and hosting community and creating spaces that, you know, really inspired folks and comforted people, whether it was, you know, in good times and bad times. Like, we have created spaces for us, for people who look like us, to feel at home, right? And so for me, you know, 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to come back into this space and do it really differently. I was able to fuse community with profit. You know, that's the truth, right? Because community is also economy, and our ability to earn, as well as to be able to invest and reinvest in our neighborhoods and the things that have brought us up. And so I am just so happy to say here today, thank you for being, again, a part of my community. Oftentimes, as an entrepreneur, and I'll just have that little bit of a story, where you feel alone, where you are coming up with ideas and you're hoping that people will latch onto it the same way you do, the same way you have, you know, kind of kicked the idea with someone else, sent a text message, like, you know, late messages, whatever it is, to see if someone buys into it. And you really hope that you're doing something that is really selfless and that is totally about the environment that you sit within. And so for me, the underground is an homage to the environment that I sit within and that I come from. When people ask me why the underground, and I can give you a very long story, and at the end of the day, what I talk about is less about why the underground and what of the underground. And for me, the underground has represented opportunity, an opportunity for us to kind of be here through a pandemic, to kind of beat the odds of new restaurant owners who typically make it less than 3 years at a time. You know, we had the blessing to not only be here on year 3 at Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen on September 7th, but also open the underground on that exact same day. So for me, I think that that is, you know, again, the opportunity for us to build within our neighborhoods and build within ourselves. So I appreciate everyone who is here, and I just really want to, you know, talk about a little bit more about how this opportunity is a really representative intersectionality. For me, it was opportunity in the pursuit of greatness, right? I actually wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something more. And I was able to do so with the help of American Campus Communities, with the, you know, backing of Northeastern University, and with the recommendation of people who have already seen our product and who have tied into our mission, our message and our mission. So again, I don't really want to keep it too long. I am a person who likes to bring the people together, have a really good party. I want to give it up one more time for Gregory Groover and his quartet. He's not someone who's just performing. I consider Greg and his team friends of ours. And this is the kind of spirit that we want to continue to embody here, and the kind of program that we want to have more of. So more than just food and beverage, it is about culture. It is about artistry. It is, in fact, about the art on the walls, you know, bringing in, you know, who's living here. So I won't tie this up anymore. I'm actually going to kick it back to John because we do have some speakers, but I will speak to you again later. And I thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nia. We now have several elected officials, a couple of elected officials to do neighborhood greetings. It's really my honor to introduce a friend. She's a Roxbury native, a mom, a Northeastern graduate, a Torch Scholar here at Northeastern University, and is a state representative from Roxbury. Who's doing wonderful things for her district. And it's really my pleasure to bring back to campus our friend, Representative China Tyler.
Thank you so much, John, for that introduction. Back to campus. And congratulations to the entire Underground Cafe, Nia, and your family. I really appreciate coming back here for, I think, like the 5th time since you opened up. It's really a place where you want to be, and a place that I feel welcome. I just want to come here for a couple of things really quickly, just to really point out the perseverance of Nia and her family. It's really, really hard for Black businesses, particularly like this one, to be able to thrive, especially now during COVID. Those issue topics have heightened. And Nia has persevered and has been able to open up a successful cafe. And I just wanted to just give you kudos to that, because you work really, really hard. It's not easy to be able to be one of very few in the elected official space trying to allocate resources and dollars. So I wanted to thank you all for showing up and for being continued supporters of Nia and her family, because it's your leadership and your support which allows for places like this to thrive. So thank you so much. And so without further ado, I came in to actually honor you. So you talked the other day, you said you didn't have a citation, so officially I wanted to honor you today. Come on up. This, obviously, I'll read it in a second. It's a citation from the Commonwealth on behalf of us all. But more importantly, as a Northeastern alum, I oftentimes get beat up with folks asking, what's Northeastern doing for our community? What's going on in Roxbury? And so it's partnerships like this that actually change the game. So I actually want to thank Northeastern for continuing to invite us all to the table, and as we invite them to our table to figure out what we can do to be able to change that narrative. And so without further ado, I'd like to present this citation to you, Nia Grace, in recognition of the grand opening of the Underground Cafe and Lounge. Our entire membership at the State House extends the very best wishes and express hope and good fortune and your continued success in all your endeavors. And we hope that this is the first of very many opportunities that you get to partner, which we know, with Northeastern University. So thank you so much, and I probably will see you tomorrow, because the coffee here is really, really good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Tyler. It is now my pleasure to introduce somebody who certainly needs no introduction in this city, and particularly in Roxbury. But just on a personal note, I will say I've known this, our speaker, the mayor of Boston, for the last 20 years. I knew her as a fierce advocate for children and for her community when she came in to testify in the city council, when I sat on the city council. As a state representative, as a city council, excuse me, as a city councilor, and certainly in the last 6 months, inherited a job with some tough situations and did so with grace and thoughtfulness and hard work. And in my time on the city council, when there'll be discussions in front of the education committee, where she advocated all the time, we didn't always see eye to eye. But it was never raised voices. It was done with thought and looking at different people's point of view, and she handled that so wonderfully. And I have no doubt, and we should have no doubt, that this Roxbury native, who's been a force for good in her community in so many different ways, will continue to be that way, even more so post-December. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to introduce the Mayor of Boston, Kim Janey.
Hello, everyone. Hey. I want to start by just lifting up and shouting out Nia Grace. Can you guys give her another round of applause? You know, I am so grateful to call her friend. As someone who grew up here in Roxbury, we're actually at the intersection of Roxbury and the South End, where my family has called home for generations. And this institution, Northeastern, is where my father graduated back, I think, 1970. And I've told the story before of how I came to be as a strong advocate, John, as someone who became a community organizer. And it's because of the community that raised me, and certainly my parents. And my father, when he was a student here, he and other students, and I know you probably don't want me telling this story, he and other students took over the president's office. And they had demandments. Yes, we can clap for that. They took over the president's office, and they were fighting for more black studies, more black faculty and staff that looked like them, issues that are still relevant today. And so that is why I tell this story, and that happened, you know, now 50 years ago. We've got more work to do in the city of Boston, and part of that work is lifting up are Black businesses in the city of Boston. I've been proud to do that throughout my entire career, long before elected office and certainly in elected office. And Nia has been someone that I've been proud to support. And this cafe, the Underground, is just so phenomenal, where art and culture and entrepreneurship meet. And as someone who comes from a family of artists, a family of entrepreneurs, a family of advocates and educators, I am just so proud to stand here as mayor to offer some remarks and how special this is. I have to give it up to the artists who are here. Certainly Gregory Groover, you know, I've known you, I guess, most of your life, and it's just amazing to see what you are doing in our city, and I just thank you for your artistry and all that you contribute to the city of Boston. To my dear friend, we can clap for Gregory Groover and the other musicians here. Certainly to Valerie Stevens, who I love dearly. She is a queen. She knows she is a queen. And not only that, she is my neighbor and my friend. I love you dearly. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And where's Rob? There you are. This guy right here, can you guys give it up, please, for pro-Black? You know, this is what we're hungry for. We are so hungry for places where we can come together, where we can convene, we can meet, we can work, we can play, we can enjoy the arts, we can celebrate each other, and you are offering that, Nia, and you and your entire crew here. And I want to thank Northeastern, I want to thank the American campus communities, I want to thank all of the folks who have made this opening possible, and I encourage all of us to continue to support. Our businesses, our small businesses and restaurants in particular, have been so hard hit by COVID-19. It has been very difficult in the best of days, for a new restaurant to take off and be successful, to open up in the midst of a global pandemic, a second spot, because we know Darrow's is down the street. And so, you know, I am just grateful to be here to support that, to lift this up, to encourage all of us to do the same. It is so important that we make sure that she is successful, because as she is successful, so many others that come after her will be successful. And so it's important that we continue to support Black business in the city of Boston, that we invest in Black business, that we support women-owned business, that we support businesses owned by immigrants. We have so much more work to do in the city of Boston, and I am so grateful that I have been able to play a role in Boston's recovery and put us on the path forward. And we have to do more when it comes to equity, when it comes to supporting entrepreneurs, when it comes to supporting the arts in the city of Boston, and this is a place where we can do all of that. So I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you, Nia.
One more time for Mayor Kim Janey. That was wonderful. It is now my pleasure to bring back, like I said, the woman of the hour, Nia Grace, to interview her select performers and friends here to entertain us. Nia?
So again, thank you, Mayor Janey, again, a good friend, as well as State Representative China, a good friend. I appreciate the support, as well as the legislation that you have gotten into place that helps small businesses and entrepreneurs. I am, again, it's about kind of the community that makes this space what it is. Oh, I apologize, my mess. All right, it's just me. So, again, the space is about the community that makes it what it is and what contributes to it and the sound of it. We have our band here, Gregory Groover, but we also have Miss Valerie Stevens here in the building. For me, Valerie is kind of like a second mom, kind of like that auntie that you need just in that moment. That is doesn't take anything away from my mom who is here today, as well as my Aunt Deborah who is here right too. But Valerie has been that person to me who gives me some levity, but also brings down the house. And so she's one of my favorite performers. You can catch her at Daryl's, giving some people fever sometimes. Sometimes she goes by the story Diva. But again, she's my friend, Miss Stevens. And so she's going to perform a piece for you now.
Nia, this is a beautiful place. I mean, I need a mic and I don't need a mic. So I'll get it together. Yeah, I'll talk on the mic now, bring it down. It's a very bright place, as we see here. But that's all right. We're going to work with it because that's who we are. That's what we do here. And I tell folks, I am an unabashedly proud Black Bostonian. This is my city. My family came here and they paid for me to be here. Okay. So, in the true sense of improvisation, we are going to do some music and some poetry. All right, which one we do? Afro Blue? All right, give me a nice little 12 baby. Let's do it. Come on, give me a little bit more. Let's see what you got. Come on, kick in, y'all. else can we do? What you got? Ego tripping.
You are too. What you want me to do? What? You are a phenomenal woman, don't you?
I just want to give it again for the Valerie here.
Right now,
I just want to, again, thank you, Valerie, for sharing your art with me. And I also want to thank some of the artists that are in the room for sharing their talent with me as well. I have a dear friend who I feel like we're kind of coming together in this space together. His name is Rob Gibbs, right? That you might know him as Pro Black. But I just call him a I think for us, the relationship that we share is that we are really trying to give so much of ourselves to build communities. And we really kind of pour our hearts out into every single project that we produce. And I think that, you know, what he does with canvases that need to be 70 feet walls and concrete and wood panels and this, I feel like, you know, I do in the space, in the kitchen, and sometimes behind the bar and that. So I just want to thank Rob, though, for his leadership from a young age as well. We're one of the co-founders of Arts for Humanity. And Arts for Humanity is the exhibition that you see here on the walls. So if you look around in the room, every time we keep the art on the wall is created by youth who are known for the program of Brotherhood Program. Who also helps to spearhead the curation department with Brenda Long and others as well. So I wanted to, you know, give another round of applause for Brenda and for Rob as well. Again, for me, it's just really special to let this project be more than myself. And so I remember being in Dutch's Corner about 6 years ago, looking at a young artist doing some freestyle on the street for a fair. And I was like, you know, I don't know what he's doing. He didn't have it. It wasn't titled yet. But I just know that his work spoke to me. And I wanted to be able to have an opportunity to get these in his work, put it on my walls to support his craft. And then I saw some pieces that were sent to me for this curation of this project. And I don't know if someone did it on purpose or, you know, I'm not sure I shared that story, but I know that when I saw it, I immediately knew who that artist was. and there was this young man named Wilson Tejeda, right? And so Wilson is in the room right now, and he's sitting here, and I at some point in time, you know, a large piece of this is to not just have the art on the wall, but for you to be able to connect with the artists who created it. And so at some point in time, when we break from this huddle, I want you to talk to the artist who is in the room today and talk to him about the pieces and his inspiration, as well as what, you know, maybe Arts for Humanity has done for him. We also have Gloria Fidel Said as well in the room, and her pieces are here on the wall. What I feel so special about those pieces too is that one is being with Grace, and for me, that is again a part of like kind of full circle. So I'm just going to pass the mic off to my friend Rob, and I'll just talk a little bit more about Arts for Humanity and the program we have.
Family of Roxbury in the room, how's everybody feeling? I'm gonna keep it brief because it was a lot of amazing things that just happened. I don't know if anybody's like soul is tingling right now, but Underground Cafe is just gonna be that destination to fill your soul, right? Whether it's the artwork that's on the walls that you see curated by Brenda and produced by our teams. And just about 30 years ago, understand that I'm within 420 steps of this radius. Grew up down the street. This is the block that I walk through. This actual location is parallel to where the Orange Line used to run, where it was the only place I was seeing artwork on the rooftops. And now we have a destination that's hosting all of that. So to stand in front of you as an individual who grew up in the area, a personal stakeholder, and somebody who's proud to, you know, introduce this idea, this practice, this continuation with grace, all puns intended. You understand? And just to celebrate what Roxbury is about, we can show you way better than we can ever tell you. Right? So if you see anything, just know that the pictures that are worth 1,000 words, we have the young people whose narrative is behind it. So take a moment, dive into what's happening, and always pay attention to what's happening right here. For as long as this place has been, it's going to be activated. I'm speaking into fruition. It's going to be here to stay. So without taking too much, and just adding on to the magic and the majesty that's in this room, thank you, Ken. Big citizens. We can go all night. But thank you for showing up, everybody.
Just to give us some closing remarks.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Rayanne Pearson. I'm a regional manager with American Campus Communities. I was actually a part of the LightView opening and a short-term resident of Roxbury. So to see the space, the retail space occupied with a tenant is great. But to have the space filled with a retailer who brings so much character, love, and soul to the space excites me. I know it excites our campus partners, LightView residents, and I'm sure it does the same for the Roxbury residents. The Underground Cafe is a much needed addition to this side of campus in an area of Roxbury. It allows individuals to gather in the community and share ideas and stories in a space where students can come together and study. And for us professionals, it allows us to get that much needed caffeine fix. I know I need it. The Underground Cafe is the cornerstone of what it means to have campus meet community. Speaking of community, we are very passionate about community at American Campus Communities. It's in our name, and it goes beyond our buildings. It does not stop with creating rapport with our residents, but it's about being a good partner, being a good neighbor, and in the environments that we serve and for the people that we serve. Nia, we want to thank you for allowing us to join the underground team so that we could truly be a part of the Roxbury community. The underground is more than just about food and coffee, folks. As you've heard, it's about culture and people. The Underground Cafe was made by Roxbury, and it is for Roxbury, and we're excited to be a part of it. Nia, we wish you and the Underground team the very, very best. You are truly an ambassador for the community, and we couldn't be happier to see you and your businesses flourish here at LightView. Thank you all for coming out. Enjoy the atmosphere, local artwork, each other, and certainly the hour of the band, Gregory Groover Jr. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Ray. Before we conclude tonight's remarks and speaking program, I do want to recognize a couple of great friends and partners to Northeastern, to our community, to the city of Boston. Natalia Urtubey, who just left through the front door, Director of Small Business Development for the city of Boston, has been a wonderful partner to Northeastern University. And we do have a trio of some really great folks who are running citywide at large, and you can imagine running for office is difficult enough. Running throughout the entire city of Boston is tough. They've been putting their heart and soul into it the past year and a half. I do want to recognize them now. Rusi Louis-Jean, City Council at large candidate. And Rusi's dad is also a Husky. He works here at Northeastern University. And I also want to recognize someone who's run extremely great race and is a mom and a school teacher and comes out of Dorchester, and she's nice to be with us here tonight. Erin Murphy is here. And someone I personally go way back with, someone who worked in my office when I was a city councilor a long time ago, and despite all that, he's still running for office. Ladies and gentlemen, David Halbert, my friend. Everyone, thank you so much for all your support and your guidance and your friendship. And we're off to great things here at the Underground Cafe and Lounge. Thanks for being with us tonight. Appreciate it.